So,
Three.
one of our members, Jerry, is having a procedure really as we talk. He's getting like some stents put in, so we hope for a refuah shlema. We're on
Zelig Ben Esther.
Zelig Ben Esther. We're on volume 3, Tzurun Rabbanon. Tonight is September 16th, 2019. We're on page 346. We're still in volume 2, doing Hilchos Gerus, which is part of your Deya. We're jumping around a little bit because we got volume 3, and in volume 3 is Hilchos Tkiyah Shofar and also Hilchos Yom Kippurim.
The Hilchos Avelis, I actually done this before.
There's Hilchos
Oh, where
Avelis.
it's at May leap year, there we go.
I said it's,
The whole
well,
paragraph.
that's because they wrote these chapters specifically for Minyan Yom.
I see, okay.
They added certain things here.
So we left off, we started on Tkiyah Shofar last week. We're going to finish Tkiyah Shofar today. Page 346. We have seen so far that the Tkiyos de Miyushav and Tkiyos de Me'umet are considered two distinct series, or Tkiyos, that have somewhat different function in halachot. We said that the Tkiyos that we blow right after Haftorah, before Shemona Esrei, are called the Tkiyos de Miyushav, because technically you could sit during them. We, the Mishnah Berurah, eventually paskin that we stand like Kovet Tzibur, but technically you could sit. And then the Tkiyos de Me'umet are the Tkiyos that are blown during the Amidah. So the Nusach Sfard does it twice. They do it during the silent Amidah and the Chazar Sashatz. We just do Chazar Sashatz, and that's why we have to make up 40 right before Tiskabel, Kaddish Tiskabel. The Nusach Sfard only does 10, because they've done 30, the Tkiyos de Miyushav, 30 during the silent Amidah, and 30 during the Chazar Sashatz. They leave 10 before Kaddish Tiskabel is said. Now,
So for us, the 40 at the end are considered Miyushav?
Hashlama.
Yeah, but the Miyushav, or they're...
No, they're Hashlama. We have the 30 Tkiyos de Miyushav. Tkiyos de Miyushav are considered the ones right after Haftorah. Tkiyos de Me'umet are the one that are saying, because it's connected to the brachos of Zichronos, Malchus, and Shofros. And then there's Hashlama to Me'at brachos. We brought, because we said Kaf, the Tkiyos Kaf,
Right.
so pasuk, kaf is in gematria is 100. That's the remez. Now, so we're talking here about being mafsik during the tkiyos. So many Rishonim, including the Rambam, maintain that since all the tkiyos are designed to fulfill the mitzvah of Shofar Rosh Hashanah in its maximal form, because we said really you need 10, and then because we don't know exactly sure what the true is, you need 30. And some hold that Meikar Adin, once you heard 30, you're Yotze Midoraisa. And then the 100 is, is a min mufcher. So if all the tkiyos are considered part of the mitzvah shofar, one must not interrupt between them. Says the Rambam in Hilchos Shofar, Zesha tokek shein yoshvin, the same shofar blower who blows during the tkiyos hamiyushiv, who should tokeh al seder brachos kshein andim. So Rambam seems to be makbid that the same Baal Tukeya. I remember a minig at Young Israel when we were davening there, Walter and Bernie, we were all davening at Young Israel. They used to have Jacob Frankel blow during the ones initially, and then they would have Tum and Daven do the other ones. That means they would split it. But you see clearly from the Rambam
It's not the preferable
that it's
way.
not the preferable way, that the same guy who blows the Miyushav should blow the Mu'um. The Einu Medabir. Ben Kirshim and Yosef. With Kirshim woman, you may not speak. Now, the Hagos Maimonios, which is a parish on the Rambam, cites the Rabbeinu Simcha, goes a step further with regard to interruption conversation to the Tkiyos to Miyushav themselves. It means just during the 30 set right after Haftorah. He argues, according to the interpretation of the Hagos Maimonios, that since one is still in the midst of fulfilling the Torah mitzvah of Shofar, one would have to repeat the bracha again if one interrupts, regardless of whether one is blowing the shofar or even listening to another blow it. So according to Rabbeinu Simcha, being mafsik is so great that even the ones listening to it might have to repeat the bracha. Let's see him inside. Rabbeinu Simcha Kosa, Im sacha tokea ben habracha ben haseder. The one who spoke between the bracha and the blowing, ad shemesayim kol aseh, until he finishes the whole 30, choizer umavarech, he has to repeat the bracha. Kemo sach ben tefillah l'tefillah. He makes a dimyon, he compares it to people who speak between the tefillin shel yad and the tefillin shel rosh. V'shema ritzor lomar shemesayim sidarim shemiyushav. Maybe you might think that he's talking about until he finishes all the seder of the sitting, i.e. before the Amidah, sha'az yotze midei kol hasfekes. But od kos Rabbeinu Simcha, shekashem she'en l'tokel l'asiach ben tayim. Just like we just said that toker should not speak in those ones. Kach ein l'shonim l'asiach. So too should the listeners not have hesach hadas. By talking, you're sort of taking your mind off the mitzvah. Hoil va'atoikeya hu shluchan u'motzian. The blower is their shaliach, and he is being motzi them. Ushlucha shel adam kamoso ki ilo shomea atzmo tokeya. So he wants to say that we who are listening is as if we are blowing ad kan. So the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah rule, in accordance with the Rambam, that it is forbidden to speak about anything other than the tekiyas or the tefillah, between the Tekiyas Miyushav and Tekiyas Movement. So, for example, we know that if you made Natilas Yadayim and you come to make a motzi, you can say Tol Bruch, bring the salt. That's not considered a hafsaka. Anything that's done for the purpose of the hamotzi is not considered being mafsik, being between the bracha and the performance of the mitzvah. So it's the same thing here. If, for example, let's say somebody says, let's say somebody says, you didn't blow the right length, or you missed a tekiah, or someone made a comment regarding the tekiyas, or regarding the tefillah. We'll see. Let's say, because remember, we're going to see that this goes all the way till you finish all the blowing. So let's say, you didn't say the musaf properly, or whatever. If it's something nogea to the tekiyas or to the tefillah, it's not considered a hafsak. However, let's say
Does that give the rabbi permission to go around and tell people when they have
yes,
kibbud?
Yes, because it's for the purpose of the tefillah. However, let's say the rabbi announces the page for the people who need to follow. That would also be considered not a hefsek. However, if one did be mafsik, the Ramah against the Rabbeinu Simcha rules that you don't have to repeat the bracha. Says the Shulchan Aruch, lo yasiach lo atokeh v'lo atzipor, ben t'kiyah shemiyusaf l't'kiyah shemubin. You shouldn't speak between the beginning, the first 30 tkiyas after Haftarah, and until you complete the 30 of the Mu'umin. Says the Ramah, miyu be'inyan at-tkiyas vatfilos ein hefsek. So the Ramah says very clearly that if you say something regarding the tkiyas or the tfilos, it's not a hefsek. However, in Dvar B'Teilim Sach, you asked about the Dodger game, or something that is not relevant, he says, ein tzarich lachzor l'varech. You don't have to repeat the bracha. Certainly, you should not speak between the brachas and the tkiyas. So again, even between the bracha and the first tkiyas, if you have to say something about a tkiyah, you're allowed to say it. Very similar to the Natilas Yadayim and saying, bring the salt before you made the amos. Mishnah Berurah goes further on the reason for the Ramah that one need not repeat the bracha if one spoke during the tkiyas of Umid. The Lo Dami says the Mishnah Berurah l'sach bein tefillin l'tefillin, that if you spoke between the tefillin shel yad, tefillin shel moshe, dahasam shtei mitzvos hein. That's considered two different mitzvahs. Mashe'eno kein hacha, de kula chad mitzvahi, va'al kein afilu sach dvar b'teilim ben tkiyas t'miyushav atzman, ein atzarich lachzor l'varech. Midi dahav misha medaber achar sheta me'at me'berchas hamotzi, the ein atzarich l'chazor l'varech. Similar to hamotzi, like we said, the kula chad sudi. It's like let's say you spoke a little bit right after you made hamotzi, and you spoke a little bit. You didn't finish the whole suda. So they say you're not finished because it's all considered one suda. So for example, someone spoke between the shvorim, when we do shvorim trua, and you spoke in between them, because that's like one trua. Because remember, we learned that last week, they weren't sure what the trua is. Is it the whimpering or the drawing out? So we do all three types. Af she'ein tzarech lachzor levarech, mikol makom lo yotza. He wants to say, if you spoke between Shvarim and Trua, fine, you don't have to repeat the bracha, but you're not Yotzei. The tzarech lachzor v'litkoa also said you have to repeat the whole 30 set of the blowing. According to Mishnah Berurah, then, the Rama holds that speaking during the Tekiyos, even during the Tekiyos HaMe'umed, is different than speaking between the tefillin, which are considered two different mitzvahs. Based on this understanding, it's clear that the Ramah does not rule in accordance with Rabbeinu Simcha, who did require reciting a new bracha if one spoke in between the Tekiyos HaMe'umed, like we brought in the Hagos Maimonides.
I don't know why, I'm gonna be, oh. All right, never mind.
What is the
Oh,
halacha?
Miyusha, no, it wasn't Rabbi Simcha.
Miyushav is the
Miyusha-
first 30,
Right,
and then
so
during
which one
the,
was Rabbi Simcha talking about, Rabbi Simcha? I had a feel, I thought it was from the bracha to the,
between the bracha and the blowing of the
or the
Miyushav.
first, of the Miyusha.
Right.
And which ones are is the Ramah talking about?
Also between, it's between the Miyushav and the Mu'amid. Because they consider it,
So
Why do they
it's not
consider
clear
it
that it's,
different, though?
what I'm saying is it's not clear what Rabbeinu Simcha
so
would say
last
at that
week,
point.
we had a debate, which of the Tekiyos are more chashuv. So we said that technically the initial 30, you might be Yotzi Midoraisa. But we said that the Tekiyos that are connected to the brachos of Malchus, Zichron, and Shofars are more ikr. So so basically they're
But
considered
it's
one unit.
Okay, but it's a little bit of a derabbanan to that, no? Or is it deraisa?
No, when we dealt with the issue, it's Doraisa blowing shofar. Now, we are motzi with 10,
Yeah,
and since we don't know what the truest are, we are motzi with 30.
right.
But why do they call it?
So the 100 is, to get to 100.
The 100 is midrabban.
And if there's a suffix derabbanan, what do you do in a bracha? You don't
Safek
make a-
makula, and we don't make the
You don't
bracha.
make the bracha.
Oh, so very good. So that's a good point. We're gonna bring that up very shortly. Mario, could you pass me, a little cup, please, thank you. So, what is the halacha if one needs to use the bathroom in between the beginning of the Tekiyos and their conclusion? May one recite the bracha of Asher Yotzar, recited upon exiting the bathroom? The Piskei Tshuva addresses this issue and states that most poskim do permit one to recite the bracha. Says the Piskei Tshuva, Uve'in levarach birchas Asher Yotzar, terem gmar Tekiyos Me'umed, right? During Musaf, right? You haven't finished the Tekiyos Me'umed yet, and you have to go out to the bathroom. L'maisa skimu shar poskim lahatir levarach birchas Asher Yotzar. So first of all, this issue that the Rambam brought, that you should not speak, it's not brought in the Gemara. Umakoro, the source of not speaking is B'divrei HaRif, right? The Rif who wrote, basically he summarized all the halachic portions of the Gemara, left out the Agadata, and that was really the first code book. It was even before the Torah, it was before the Rambam. So the Rif is the first one who mentioned not speaking, and then the Rambam, and then the Rosh. Also wrote Piskei Halacha. Lachein, Dino Kidin Afsaka Ben Baruch Sha'armal Yishtabach. So he wants to say that here, since it's not brought in the Gemara, it's not like a Hafsaka, let's say between Kriyat Shema or during the middle of Shemona Esrei, which are brought in the Gemara. But this is like the one between Baruch Sha'armal Yishtabach, Hamavor b'Mishnah Berurah, Shemut levarach birchas Asher Yotzar. The Kol Sheken B'Tfilas Rosh Hashanah Sha'arucha, and certainly will be permitted because Rosh Hashanah davening is a long davening. Now that we have a general understanding of the issue of Hafsakas during Tekiyos Shofar, we can address the question of whether it's permitted, even l'chatchila, to recite the special prayers printed in many machzorim in between the sets of the shofar blasts. In the Sephardic machzorim, it's referred to as vidui. In the Ashkenazic machzorim, it's referred to as the hiyuratzoins. Is one permitted to say these prayers during the Tekiyos of Miyushav, in between the Tashrat, Tashat, and the Tashat and the Tarat, right? Remember, so you have the 3 sets of Shvorim Trua, then the 3 sets of Shvorim, and then the 3 sets of Trua. In between those sets, there's a Yehi Ratzon passage there that's brought by in the Machzorim. So there's always a question, should you do that? So in order to understand the dispute among the Achronim about this point, we need to better understand the nature of the enactment of Rav Avoh that was mentioned in the previous section. As mentioned there, the Gemara explains that Rav Avoh instituted the practice of blowing Shvorim Trua as the Trua, placed in between the Tekiyah blown before and after. This was due to the question of whether the word Trua mentioned in the Torah refers to an extended moan, or or short rimpers, like the trua. So at first glance, this would seem to be based on uncertainty as to exactly how to blow the correct trua. And that's in fact how the Shulchan Aruch understood it. We learned source 18 last week. That it was a suffix. And the Shulchan Aruch in turn based his opinion on the Rambam, who says explicitly that uncertainty existed as to how to blow the trua. Says the Rambam in Hilchos Shofar, trua zu ha'amur b'Torah, nistapik lanu ba, suffix, lefi orach hashonim v'rav ha'golyos, because of the length of time of years and the exiles, ein anu yodim hechi, lefichach anu osim hakol. So it's very clear that the Rambam holds that the inyan of shvarim trua and shvarim and the trua, it's not like me'ikar adin that this is what we have to do, but we do it because we're mesupik exactly what the trua is. However, this is a machlokas rishonim. The Rosh brings the opinion of the Rav Hai Gaon. Rav Hai Gaon, we know, is one of the Gaonim, like Rav Amram Gaon, Rav Sadia Gaon. They lived 800, 900 in Surah in Pumbedisa. A lot of our davenings, like the Machzor Vitri, the Machzor Amram Gaon, those were one of the first sources of a lot of our nuschos, even before the Rishonim. So it's not unusual that they're citing the Rav Hai Gaon regarding an inyan regarding davening. So the Rosh already cited Rav Hai Gaon. The Ran in Rosh Hashanah also cited it, that of all the variations for the definitions of trua, i.e., shvarim trua and shvarim trua, they're all considered valid trua sounds. So it's not, we're not misupik. Each one is a trua, and one fulfills his obligation with any of them. So according to Rav Hai, who had said we should do all three, the purpose of Rav Avo's enactment was so that everyone would follow the same practice. Rav Avo wanted to sort of codify for Gans Klal Yisrael how to blow. Not that we're not blowing them multiply because we're misupik exactly which one it is, but he set up this takon, because of Rav Hai B'tshuva. Al techshavu kinaflo b'mir Rav Avo suffix b'davar zeh. Chas v'shom, you should think that during the time of Rav Avo there's a suffix. V'kachai adavar miyomin kadmonim minhag l'chol Yisrael. In fact, there was a minhag in Yisrael. Mehem oisim trua yevavois kalois, that they would do like a stretched out whimper. Umehem oisim yevavos kebadim shehem shvarim, or the first one was true and the second one is shvarim. And elu ve'elu yotzi deichod vasam ki shvarim kvedim truahim v'yevavos kalos truas. They're all truas. V'hayad avanir kechaluka afal pi she'ena chaluka. Maybe it looked like a conflict, but there was no conflict. V'chachamim shel halalu moedim ki shvarim truahim. They also admitted that a shvarim was a truah. Each one admitted to the other that they're fine. People who don't know how to learn would think that there's a machloikas here, and there's not a machloikas. This machloikas rishonim is going to create an afkamina whether we can say these yehirotza. The question of whether one can recite the vidui or the hirotzon in between the sets may hinge upon this dispute between Rishonim. If only one set is actually correct, maybe Tarat is correct, maybe Tashrat is correct, maybe Tashat is correct, but we are in doubt which set it is, which is the opinion of most Rishonim, like the Rambam. Then it would be prohibited to interrupt between the bracha and the performance of the mitzvah, and the mitzvah wouldn't be complete until you did the whole set. Based on that understanding, you should not be mafsik in between the sets, because it's only until you complete that you have the bracha and you complete the sets that you have like bracha on the lulav and I shake the lulav without a hefsek. But if one accepts the approach of Rav Hai Gaon, that all of them, so once you did the first tashrat, you already been yotze me'ikradin. There wasn't a performance obligation with the first set, and we permitted to recite the additional praise in between the sets. So that's the point of the machlok. You've always heard there's a machlok. Should you say it? Should you read it with your eyes? Or should you enunciate it? So the Mishnah Berurah takes the first approach.
Would this be the same issue then about the brachas, that if you held that you were already yotze with the first 10, whichever they happen to be, then you don't have to make another bracha if you interrupted, because you didn't fulfill basic?
Yeah, but none of the opinions we brought last week said we're Yotze with just the first set.
Okay.
We know you need 30 kolos. So we know we did 30 kolos in the first set, but the question arises, are those the Iker ones? We said that one of the why do we do it is actually the codifiers halacha says la'arbe v'zasatan. What exactly does that mean? So we learned that last week because he's coming and
Again, if you're
so
allowing-
therefore
if you're
so
allowing
really
Yisrael
if
in,
the
you're
Iker
basically saying fulfillment.
if the Iker blowing is connected to the brachos of Shemona Esrei, then you mamish have to wait until that's over.
But I'm saying, but if you're allowing Yehirot on there, it's you're saying I'm Yotze and I can be mafsik a little bit here.
No, because remember we also said that if you're mafsik for tkiyas
Issue
or
that's related
tefillah,
to it.
yeah. So I mean I get we would have an out. It's not dvarim betelim.
All right.
This is more. The Mishnah Berurah. Let's see what he says.
But, excuse me, the first 30 covers Tashrat,
All of them,
Tarat,
yes.
and
Yes, it does.
Tashat. So you're not left with a decision which is the correct one. Why don't you just choose any 10? Like to do Tarat, Tarat.
When you say so most of the Rishonim hold not like the opinion that each seder is considered a good blowing. They hold that we're mesupik whether the trua is a shvarim or a shvarim trua.
All variations.
Then we have to and like the Rambam.
That's
So
why
the
generally don't
the
say
Mishnah
that.
Berurah.
It's more than that, you know, there's a, like in Kerem B'Yam there, just like, and I know they do it in a lot of places, right? There's different, slightly different.
How to do shvarim.
Oh,
How
how
to
to-
do a shvarim and everything.
So they did all of them.
They know. So the way they did it in the shul, and then the Rosh Hashiva, right? Somebody used to blow for him with a different thing. You
Different,
don't listen.
Just in case.
They're just in case. And they do that today in a lot of places too, because
You know,
it's a literate.
I don't want to know about that one.
Yeah.
Don't need to more
So
blowing.
according to the Mishnah Berurah, he takes the first approach. He rules that although it is permitted to interrupt between the Tekiyas D'Miyushav and the Tekiyas D'Mun about matters related to the Tekiyas, or with the Tefillah itself, nevertheless, one may not interrupt during the Tekiyas D'Miyushav themselves. Therefore, he rules that one should not recite the Vidu Yehiratzon, rather one should contemplate the words, should one wish, without verbalizing it. You can look at it with your eyes and not verbalize it.
So
It's
hefsek is only when you say something. If your mind wanders, it's not
Yeah.
hefsek.
hearer
Hearer
is
is
lav
fine.
kedibur dami.
Okay.
Okay. By the way,
It's not
I would
quite
think that it's a similar machlokes regarding the various tefillas that some people say between Birchas Kohanim.
Yeah.
So Rabbi Chazon Glickman taught us the same halacha that we should verbalize it with our eyes and we should not say it because they're also it's a bracha.
Or each
Yeah.
nasa.
In between
Yeah.
your bracha, then there's like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
possible
Correct.
say.
So again, there's some people are busy saying,
Yeah.
and I was trained the same way here
Look at
that you should look at it. The same thing because there's a hefsek there. By you say amen, amen, and it would be considered. Oh, well, maybe that'll come. Maybe we'll learn We'll learn that halacha there. But there seems to be a similarity. Let's see the Mishnah Berurah inside. Vatfilas ein hefsek. So loymar. The bein tikis to miyushav l'ma'umen shari lechatchila lasiach mi'inyanam. That you could speak between the Miyushav and Uman to discuss the subject matter related to the rod signs or something like that. V'ayin b'derech ha'chaim shedaito debein ha'bracha ad sof tikis to Miyushav osur lahafsik afilu b'tfilas. But you shouldn't even say anything, even tfilas, between the bracha until you finish the tikis to Miyushav. Lachein lo yoymar hayehi rod sign hanidfas b'machzorim bein ha'tikis to Miyushav. Rak yahar belibo v'al yotze b'fiv. Or you could say it after you said the bracha. You finished the 31st the tkiyas of the Miyushav,
After each
and then
set
say
of
it instead of after each set. However, the Sha'ar Tzion, the Chafetz Chaim cites the opinion of Rav Yaakov Emden, who is lenient that you may say these things, and the Chafetz Chaim consequently concludes in the Sha'ar Tzion that one should not rebuke those who are lenient. V'das Hagon Moreno Rav Yaakov Emden. Besiduro lakel b'zeh. U'ledatoi kavanas Magen Avraham hu lahachmir rak ben bracha l'tkiya. That the Magen Avraham said you shouldn't say anything. That's been bracha l'tkiya. But let's say in the middle of those tkiyas, he would not be so machmir. Okay, but Malcolm Shanagin came in Limchos Piyonim. Certainly, if a tzibur has the minute to do it, you shouldn't protest. And Rav Avadia Yosef cites the Arizal, who was also lenient, according to the Arizal and other poskim that follow him. It is important to recite the vidui between the tkiyas. You shouldn't do it like what the Mishnah Berurah suggested at the end of the tkiyas. I mean, it has some kind of mystical power.
Well, this is why we should.
And according to the Zohar, all of the sets are actually valid, and therefore there's no problem of interrupting, because the Zohar is going like that second opinion, not like the Rambam, that it's not like we're in doubt of what the true is, but rather it's considered, each one is considered lechatchil. Says the Chavedas.
Maybe it has to do with the tefillas. If it has to do with tefillas, so you're not making a hefsek.
Well, Mishnah Berurah said up front.
Mr. Bruce said
If
even
you
though he
have tefillah,
recognized that we're allowed to be sach bein tefillah,
It's a different
Yeah,
approach.
that's what I'm saying.
it says because of the bracha, those first 30, they're makpid not to interrupt. Amnam b'sefer shar kavonis nemar sharizal hayanoik lizvadis belachash be'ez tkir shofar demiyashuv. He would actually, the Arizal would have this vidui, but oifen shlayam hashmila ozno. Nobody else would hear it. Ayu oimer. Kimash amru b'sefer zara she'asur lefarsh chatav Rosh Hashanah. We don't do vidui Rosh Hashanah. Vidui is done for Yom Kippur. That which we are not enunciating our chatoim is a dafka kishim izvada b'kol ram. Like when we say Asham Nun, we can hear ourselves. Ava balachash be'ez tkir shofar sha'az misarve vasotin, and there the sotin is confused very much geich lekatreg, and he's not prosecuting us as divrei avidui oilim b'yischabrus kol ha-shofar. He says that the vidui that we do goes up with the kol ha-shofar and adkan. So that's the mystical concept. V'chein kosev b'sefer shnei luchos abris, the Shlach Kodesh, lived in about late 1500s, early 1600s. Shenachol is vadois bein seir l'seir. So
So he's not really different than Mishnah Berurah. He's also saying not to say it out loud.
no, because the Mishnah Berurah said we should contemplate it with our eyes.
And here he's saying you should
He's
recite silently.
yeah.
What is,
You sort of say the words, but you don't listen. You don't hear it.
okay.
We according to them, he just looks at it with our eyes. What about women in the mitzvah of shofar? Page 352. According to the basic halacha, women, that the Shulchan Aruch brings in many places, women are exempt from the mitzvah of shofar, as it's a mitzvah sasesha. As man grama, it's a time-bound mitzvah. It says in Shulchan Aruch here by Or Chaim, Isha P'tura, we're talking about Ktiyah shofar, Mishum Davi mitzvah sasesha as man grama. You blow it on the first day of Tishrei. It's a specific day, so it's tied to time. Nonetheless, women have accepted upon themselves to fulfill this mitzvah as an obligation. It's already brought by Rabbi Akiva Eiger. For this reason, women generally do try to attend Shul on Rosh Hashanah. Ulazen Nira says in the Shut.
The reason, though, that women aren't bound by mitzvahs that it's man gromaba is because hypothetically they might need to use that time to fulfill other things that they need to do for their husbands or whatever, right?
No, it's a general rule. There's a tour. We can go. We can. No. We can discuss
Okay.
why was it created that way. But
Because if all the men are required to hear shofar and everybody's there also, so what is she supposed to be doing for him at that point? But okay.
no. It's not just that. They are potter from sukkah. They are potter from lulav. They are potter from all mitzvahs that are time bound. Zenira, de be'emet eino b'chiyuv mitzvah zu, kivin dahaviz man grama. They're not mechuyev. El de mikol makom roiv nashi didon. Our women machmirin la'atzmi. Uzehiris uzrizis l'kayim rov mitzvah saseshes man grama. He says Ashkenazic women. We'll see. It's going to be different with Sephardic women. There is going to be a shiloh, even though they're not obligated. Are they allowed to do a mitzvah that they're not obligated to do? The din is we paskin Ashkenazic paskin. Yes, they are. And then the question comes in: are they allowed to make a bracha? And we also will paskin that they are. But it's a debate. Not everybody holds that when women choose to accept a mitzvah that they're really potter in, because first, and then how do they make the bracha? Hashem Yisrael mitzivana. They're not mitzvah. So
Let me ask you, Hakel is a mitzvah shazman grama?
yeah, but there the Torah specifically said Noshim v'taf.
No, that's what I'm asking.
So in a chanami, it is, because it's said on Shmini Atzeres, it's brought, it's with Ism, it's with the Seishes
There were a
Mangrama.
couple of exceptions where
Also,
it's Afheim in the names, right?
Well, there's no mitzvahs
Okay,
deraisa.
no.
Hafein Amayuz Banes has to do with the Arba Koisos, with Megillah and Chanukah. Those are all rabbinic mitzvahs.
But Hakel is a Doraisa.
And Hakel is deraisa, but there, it's only because the pasuk says, Taf
Now,
v'noshim.
in other words, why wouldn't you think by Hakel, when you blow and you do all those things, and Nashim and Tafin are all included, why wouldn't you think that by Shofar, where it's a form of Hakel, in other words, everybody coming together, why wouldn't you think that they, even though it's a mitzvah shazman grama, that they would be chayav on that?
So over there by Hakel, the Torah specifically wrote that
No,
they
I
have to come.
understand, but
So
in
why
other
you
words,
want to
why
learn a
wouldn't
binyan
you-
of to?
Why wouldn't you learn that out for Rosh Hashanah? Because that's also a din of everybody coming together.
No din and Taf.
The fact that it had to say it by Hakel means that you can't extrapolate that anytime everybody's together, it's automatically.
And there's no din in Taf. I'm saying Rosh Hashanah is not a din like Hakel, because, and Rashi says, whoa, now Taf means even if they're 30 days old.
Right.
So Rashi asked there, well, what are the Taf there? To schar lemiviehem.
Right.
So there's a special din of Hakel being the guns people coming together. We don't see that din in Rosh Hashanah.
Meanwhile, the Lashon of Rabbi Akiva Eiger is parallel to what we did when we were learning about women studying Talmud Torah. Same thing, if they want to, and they don't, they're not mechuyev, but if they want to, and they accept it upon themselves, then it's okay. But there's no bracha there. I don't say the bracha of the Torah.
But there, they do say Birchas Torah. They do. We did say they say Birchas Torah for the Torah that they have to learn. Uzahir is the kind of mitzvah says the Mangrama. Kagon shofar, sukkah lulav, v'chein b'kiddush yontiv, v'habu kikiblu alayim. The women may fulfill the mitzvah. There is a dispute as to whether they may recite the bracha upon doing so. According to the Shulchan Aruch, they should not recite the bracha. That's why Sephardic women, even if they shake the lulav, they don't make a bracha on it. But the Ramah says that if a woman decides to shake the lulav, she should say the bracha. It's machlokes Sephardim and Ashkenazim. Afal pi shenoshim pturos, says the Mechaber, Yecholos liskoa. They can listen. V'chein acher sheyatza kvar. Let's say somebody has already been yotzei his mitzvah. Yachol litkoa lotzian. He can be took care for them. Aval ein mevarchos, v'lo yevarchu lahem. They should not make the bracha, nor should the person blowing for them make the bracha. Says the Ramah, the minig shanashim mevarchos al mitzvah sasei shaz man grama. Our minig is that they do say the bracha. Okay, gam kan tevarchena la'atzman. Here as well, they should make the bracha for themselves. Aval acherim lo yuvarchu lahem im kvar yotzu. That means if David Tumim already blew for the kahal, and then a whole bunch of women came to shul afterwards to listen, so he should not make a bracha for them. Ve'ein toikin rak l'noshim. Then he also says,
There's no bracha.
and if you remember, Rabbi Cross used to be makbid to make sure that there were some men there. You should not blow if the only reason you're blowing is for women. Because remember, they're not mechuyev. So,
So you don't make a bracha.
aval im toikin leisha mechuyev,
They can make the
mevarchin
bracha.
lo. So if let's say there's a man there who has not been yotzei, so you can make the bracha for him. Afal pi shekvar yotzei, even though the man already was yotzei.
What happens if you only have a group of women and there are no men? Are they allowed to blow shofar? Make
No.
bracha and labo-
No,
bracha?
ain't toikin rak l'noshim.
It's not just a matter of the bracha, then it's a matter of blowing.
Blowing as well.
She makes the bracha, and I blow.
You need someone
With
for the
no
blowing
man
to
in
work.
the place.
There's got to be somebody being some new person being yotzei. Otherwise, it's like the tkiyas are they're not tkiyas de mitzvah. They're not tkiyas of mitzvah.
But they're in the car shaila.
They're always matpit to have a man there who was not yotzei. As is the case for most halachic issues, Ashkenazic custom regarding this issue follows the Ramah, while Sephardic custom follows the Shulchan Aruch. Nevertheless, the Kaf HaChaim, who was a Sephardic posek, comments on the ruling of the Ramah that the custom in some areas is that even Sephardic women recite the bracha. Right? It says the Kaf HaChaim, Hainu minag Bnei Ashkenaz, Shenoyagim Kedas Rabbeinu Tam Ude Ime, and those with him, Kmo Shekosov Le'el Oz Kav Gimel. V'gam b'vnei Sfarad, even among the Sfardim, Im Yesh Makom Shenogim Anoshim Levarch, Ein Lim Chosnov to protest, Kmo Shekosov Be'oz on his keres. V'gam Ki B'mokom Minig Lo Amrinan, Sofek Brachos Lahakel. Means as long as there's a minig in the tzibur for them to do it, like Larry brought up before, that all brachos except for two are midrabanan. Birchas HaTorah, Birchas HaMazon. Those are the only brachos that we have that are midoraisa. Where if it's a suffix, whether you made the bracha or not, we're machmir, we make you make the bracha again. But all other brachos, Birchas HaNenin, Birchas HaMitzvah, for example, when you shake the lulav, and you say Asheket Ishanu, the bracha is midrabanan. You don't have to. If you didn't yet, the shaking of the lulav is midoraisa. It means if you just shake it, you're yotze the mitzvah. You didn't make the bracha, but the institution of the bracha is is only rabbinic. So, I was trying to make a point.
If it's a suffix, you don't.
Oh yeah. So sofek durabanan is lakula, which means we don't make the bracha because you don't want to say the Shem Hashem if it's unnecessary. So whenever, let's say you forgot, I drank something. Did I make the bracha or not? You don't make the bracha. Sofek durabanan is we're lenient and we don't make you say the bracha again. Okay. Now, if it's a suffix, whether you said Birchas HaMazon, you would say the Birchas HaMazon again because suffix deraisa is l'chol. Okay. So Rav Ovadia Yosef notes that a woman who has accepted upon herself to hear the shofar every year, this is a very important halacha,
Right.
may not nullify the custom or any other positive custom that she has voluntarily accepted upon herself on a permanent basis, unless she performs Hataras Nedarim. That means if our women have been used to going Rosh Hashanah Shul, and they would do it more than 3 times, there's one chazak is either 3 or 4, then you would need Hataras Nedarim. I will say the issue. So I had yard site almost 52 years ago. So I had a minig for almost 20 years of fasting on my yard site. So I was chief resident, was 19, whatever. The year I was chief resident, the chief resident was called to do kidney transplants. And I was called, it was like 2 PM. It happened to be on my yard site day. So I was advised, I had to go to the kollel, Rabbi Best was still in the kollel, and they were matir neder for me. Because anytime you accept something like a minig, like to let's say you're going to fast on your yard site, something like that, and you've done it for years in a row, you can't just not do it. You have to have a hataras nedarim. Ever since then, I didn't take on that thing.
I don't know if it's the same thing or not, but I heard Rabbi Muskin, if a woman wants to say Kaddish, she says fine, but only if you're going to attend every minyan like a man, and the whole year long. You can't just show up for yeah.
You're talking about a woman who
I
wants
want
to
to say
say.
Kaddish for the year for a parent.
What happens if you did the lulav 2 years in a row?
Say it again.
She takes a
It'll be
lulav.
same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing. Says the Abiyah Omer, Nishalti. Be'isha shanoga kama shanim lishmo kol shofar b'Rosh Hashanah. A woman has been listening to shofar for many years. And as Walter just said, v'chein l'kaim shar mitzvahs asesha zman grama, like lulav or sukkah. Kagon l'shavas b'sukkah v'lita lulav. V'atahi
And it
anus.
would apply to Anya Doraisa. It wouldn't be a Ramon. Let's say she done mincha every day. Is that a chiyuv now? According to what Rabbi Maskin
It's a
said.
positive mitzvah. It's a positive custom that she has voluntarily accepted upon herself. So ve'atahi anusa machmas choyli v'chayotze bazeh, and she's sick that year. Im tzricha haTorah al masha noga came, v'lo hiskira sheyeh bli neder. So if you could, let's say you did something and you say bli neder, I'm doing this bli neder. When she went every year. So if she had done that, but most people are not going to do that, so it's become sort of an automatic custom.
But does your Hatarat Nidarim help for your wife?
So it's very good. Ulam, adayin yesh loymar, shebemikra shel choyle v'chayotze b'zeh lo kiblu anoshim aleim l'kayim mitzvah seishes man grama. As part of their Kabbalah, they're not being makabel, i.e. to the extent that, even if I was sick, I was going to do it. So he wants to say there's an out, at least by sickness, that was never their Kabbalah in the first place. The Kabbalah was, I'm doing the mitzvah because I'm healthy and I can do it, but not to the extent that I have to do it even when I'm sick. Now, das kein noagu l'kaimen rakecha de efshar, val hech v'lo efshar lo yitztarchu l'asas haTorah. So he wants to give a tzad to say that she would not require haTorah at least for choil.
If a man can't do it,
No,
there's no
there's no
Torah because it
haTorah.
was never in neder.
'Cause, no.
But so a woman all of a sudden has a bigger deal.
Right, so the Kabbalah that she did was not a Kabbalah
Let me
with
ask
sickness
you,
as
the
well.
year before, when you made that Taras and Dorim,
That year.
when you made that Taras and Dorim before you had that fast, you made that Taras and Dorim, so you cancelled all your Nedorim. So why do you have to make a Taras and Dorim again?
Because we'll
Nedorim
see.
from between
Because
there
that's a
and
very,
Rosh Hashanah.
that's a specific, and remember, when you say the HaTorah Nedorim, you leave out certain Nedorim that you are holding by.
No,
We say
those
that.
which I remember,
We-
those which I don't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah,
so
but we
you're
s-
basically all encompassing.
You only,
Well, encompassing.
or you only canceled that one, right?
I canceled that one.
Yeah, but so,
But the
No,
wife-
Walter
the
may
women-
want
the women
to
aren't-
say
aren't Shachar
that the
Shabbat.
HaTorah
Yeah.
Nedorim that I did the Rosh Hashanah may
No,
have,
that
may,
doesn't cancel the,
it doesn't
the
con-
regular
cancel.
things that you take upon yourself.
excuse me, when you say the lotion of the thing, it says
Economos.
you everything that you
Believe.
took upon yourself on a battle.
But chutz being the way.
Yeah, there are some things that it doesn't.
But that's all. Could be.
He must be a napkin.
So can you? I'm just. Just.
It's a good shaila. It's a good shaila. I have to find out.
Okay, can you-
I think
because-
I'm guessing that there's an issue. You do that for in general, but if you actually remember the specific one, you would probably still be
Yeah, but
motivated for that.
but that's it says in the specific
No,
lotion.
Rosh Hashanah,
it's
you're
about
clean.
I understand that, but still, if I don't know.
The specific lotion,
They
otherwise
told
what-
me
totally off base or
no,
not?
you're not off base. That's why they told me to be
Excuse
matir
me,
neder
it
for that
said,
specific
hold on,
one.
What's your matir more? You got nedorim. You met matir.
I know, but that's sort of like a fail
So the
safe.
man doesn't make
you
a,
can't
and
have
then
you
they're
can't
about
have
accepting
I'm
three
just
so
saying,
it's a given,
it's
right?
different.
It's
It's
no
different.
matter.
It's not a gimmick. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't want to be matir that
But hold on a
neder.
second,
See, deep
but-
down inside, if let's say you have a custom for 20 years that you fast on your yard site, so even when you do HaTorah Nedorim, you're not having in mind those things that you do. Let's say you have other things.
Maybe
I
they
learn.
were born
I
and
stay
maybe
up
they were
every
born
year
and-
Shavuos. I stay up every year Shavuos, Tikkun Shavuos, or other things that
But
you
maybe
do.
the Rabbanan understood that, and that's why they made you do Hataras and Nedorim, because you don't know what's
We have to
going
get to
happen.
halachas haTorah and Dharm next.
So let's continue, Rav. It's Ovadia.
Rav Yosef,
Yeah.
yes.
So umeata kol shekein b'nidon didan sheyesh lahakel below haTorah. Mikiven sheyesh kama achronim hasoivrim shafilu im yirtzu levatel minagam legamri rishos. So first of all, there's some achronim that say you can be mevatel a minig legamri. Unehi sheroi lochush ladas machmirin, but let's say we're worried about the machmirin in this case. Bikol makom kishies oines l'shana achas. It was only an accident. 1 year she got sick. V'daitim lachzor leminagam akoydim l'shana abos einon tzrichas haTorah. So if it's only going to be it's a one-time thing, then enochanami she doesn't even need haTorah because it's going to go back to her regular minig the following year. Shaldas kain noaguf. Again, when they first took on the minig, that would have been in their mind. Umatzati lagon marina Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld. Chaim Sonnenfeld was the Rav of the old Yishuv Hayoshan in Yerushalayim. He was a contemporary of Rav Kook, and Rav Kook was the Jaffa Rav. When he arrived in Palestine in 1904, he became the Rav in Jaffa. He was there till 1919 when the British established the chief rabbinate. They asked him to become the chief rabbi. In those 15 years, so Rav Chaim Sonnenfeld was the head of the Eidah Charedis in Yerushalayim. In 1914, Rav Sonnenfeld, the head of the Eidah Charedis, and Rav Kook went on a tshuva train for 2 or 3 weeks in the Galil, and they visited multiple kibbutzim together. Rav Chaim Sonnenfeld has a very nice book about it, Al Shomer Tzair, to try to be Makarev. And there's a famous story that they came to one of the kibbutzim, and a prosta kibbutznik came out and said, "We don't need you here. We don't need to learn from you. So Rav Kook responded, no, you don't understand. We're here to learn from you. You are working the land, you are dedicating yourself, etc., etc. No, we're here to learn from you. And so then they invited them in, and there was a whole thing. So this is Rav Sonnenfeld. Now, so this is 1914. I mentioned that on purpose. So eventually, we know that the Eira Charedis, that segment of Jewry, separated from Rav Kook, and most scholars think it occurred because in 1920 they laid the cornerstone for the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, and Albert Einstein was there. Then other Martin Buber and other notables, and Rav Kook went and participated. He said, "We need engineering, we need science. This is going to be a new state, and this is one of the things because, as you know, the Mariel Diskin, who was the chief rabbi in the old yeshiva in 1890, established a cherem on secular education, which exists until today in Mea She'arim and in those areas. There's no secular education, so they think that's this issue. But Rav Chaim Sonnenfeld is an important personality because he was very close with Rav Kook. So Matzati Lagon Morain Rav Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld b'shut Shamas Chaim shekosav Deloy Choshev Kahai Gavna Neder Kivan Shein B'Yoda Litkoa B'Shoifar. Really, she doesn't have the ability to be Toikeh Shoifar, so it's not really a neder. So Lil Kiblo Lil Mishum Hachim Rotz Levatel Minaga Behechlet Tzricha HaTorah. So for this reason, she wants to completely nullify her custom. She does require a Torah because it isn't even. It says that in this case, it isn't considered a vow. For since she's unable to blow the shofar for herself, she didn't accept.
Why if it's not
herself.
a neder, do you need a hataras nedarim?
But for this reason, if she wants to completely nullify her custom, she requires a Torah.
Because the man has to say it for her.
So, nevertheless, Rav Ovadia adds that in order to remove any doubt, it is bet that her husband have her in mind when he performs Hadaras Nedarim Erev Rosh Hashanah. U'miyul ervacha de milsa tov shichavin bala alea bataros nedarim shenoagim lasos be'erev Rosh Hashanah sharei af benedarim baal nasa shaliach liishto. We know that, like for example, if a husband hears his wife make a neder, you have 24 hours to nullify her neder. So a husband has shaykhs to the nedarim of his wife, and he can certainly serve as a shaliach on behalf of his wife to be matir such nedarim. This is just a minig. So they'll say, be matir for me and my wife. He says, he comes out that he's lenient.
Is this more like Walter, that basically the husband, all the husband does is say the text
And have his
she's
mind his
covered,
wife.
and have his
mind
mind.
his
He doesn't have to have specifically in mind to say that neder that she made about showing up from shofar blowing.
It's covering
He gave the
for
lashon.
for yourself.
Yeah.
also.
Okay.
Hitiru lanu l'nashenu.
You're supposed to have her in mind.
But then it would imply that it does cover everything. So we get back to the question.
Yeah, minus the things you
Unless
might
she,
not
unless
cancel.
I mean, what I'm saying is, you have to know that she's sick, is not going
I
to
am-
make
I'm
it
gonna
to
start.
shul,
Just a
and
little
therefore he's better to have that in mind, or it's a blanket thing. All right.
369, we're going to start Yom Kippur. Again, I don't know how it works. Let me ask you a question. Rosh Hashanah is Monday and Tuesday?
Yes.
Right,
Wednesday is Yom Kippur.
Tuesday night is Yom.
exactly. So it's I'm glad we're learning, we're pre-learning, because we're not going to have that week, the ability to learn these. So we'll have the opportunity to finish Yom Kippur before Rosh Hashanah, I hope. So Yom Kippur is considered the holiest day of the year. It's of course the day of tefillah, asking forgiveness, but it's also a day characterized by fasting. Since the most important severe mitzvah of Yom Kippur relates to not eating or drinking, with the penalty of kares, we will spend the bulk of this year focusing on the various halachas regarding the prohibition of eating. So first there's the mitzvah to eat on Erev Yom Kippur. Before we study some halachas of not eating on Yom Kippur, we'll examine the role of food on Erev Yom Kippur. It's striking to note that although eating in Yom Kippur is of course forbidden under strict penalty, Chazal declared in the Gemara in Yoma that the very same action of eating is actually a mitzvah on Erev Yom Kippur. Says Masechta Yoma, Tanichia Barav Midifti, V'inisa mesnafso sheichem besisha, V'chi besisha misani. The Torah says on the 9th, What do you mean? We don't fast on the 9th. V'lo b'asor misari. El lo melacha. Kol ha'oichel v'shoyse b'tshi, b'ala v'kozov kilu yisadet shi v'asiri. So the Gemara, though, does not explain the reason for this mitzvah or the precise derivation of the idea.
One instead of the other.
Rashi suggests that the juxtaposition of the term "you shall afflict yourself" v'yinisem to the term "on the 9th" indicates that one should eat on the 9th in preparation for the fast of the 10th. And one who does so is considered as if he fasted on the 9th as well, in a positive sense. Says Rashi, Kol ha'oichel v'shoyse. This is Rashi in Masechta Yuma there, where it said that V'achi mashma kravi nisem b'sisha kloimar haskein atzmacha b'sisha shutu chalas azmanos. It's a hechsher mitzvah. It's just like when we prepare the sukkah or prepare the lul. It's preparing ourselves for the mitzvah. But afke krab b'loshen inu, it didn't talk about achila, it talked about inu. Lo'emelacha harehu ki'ilu misane b'sisha. It's as if you afflicted yourself and fasted on the night. But Rabbeinu Yonah cites 3 different reasons for the chiv to eat on Erev Yom Kippur. I'm just quoting the first note. The first reason given is that through eating a festive meal, one thereby demonstrates his joy at the forgiveness he expects to receive for his sins on Yom Kippur. Sort of like a it's a pre-simcha meal. And also indicates to Hashem that he regrets the sins he has committed. The third reason given is to strengthen ourselves in order to properly daven to Hashem, repent on Yom Kippur while fasting. Seems similar to Rashi's reason. So according to the second reason that we're about to cite, the nature of eating is entirely different. It says the Shari Tshuva Rabbeinu Yonah, Ki b'shar yomim toivim, anachnu koivim suda l'simchas ha-mitzvah. Ki yigdal v'yishge me'od schar simcha ala mitzvos. There's a sort of a reward for the simcha that we have for the mitzvah of Yom Tov. Kamo shenemar in Divrei Yomim, ve'ata imcha hanimtzeu po ra'iti b'simcha lisnadev lach. V'nemar tachas Hashem lo'avadat Hashem lokecha b'simcha v'tuv leva. Hashem is upset with us that we didn't serve Hashem with happipur. So it's like Simchas Yontif. It's like Ein Simcha El B'Bosar V'Yayin. You can't do it on Yom Kippur, so you have to do it Erev Yom Kippur. Rabbeinu Yonah explains here that in principle, we should be eating a special meal on Yom Kippur itself, since it's one of the Yomim Tovim, during which we eat a special Suda to express our joy for the mitzvah incumbent upon us that day. Chatzi Lashem, Chatzi Lachem, right? Specifically on Shavuos, and we learn it for all the other Yom Tovim. But since we cannot do that on Yom Kippur because of the fast, we eat the meal the day before to demonstrate our joy at being able to perform the special mitzvahs Yom Kippur, which of course includes fasting. And it says in Shulchan Aruch, Mitzvah lechol be'erev Yom Kippur, ulaharbos besuda, v'asur lis'anis boy, afilu tainis chalom. So even though tainis chalom you could do it on Shabbos, so on Erev Yom Kippur you're not allowed to do a tainis chalom. Now this obligation to eat on Erev Yom Kippur, does it apply to women? If you have to eat on the 9th, it's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah that's tied to time. Kiva Eger addresses this question. The context of the tshuva that was asked to Kiva Eger is an inquiry about whether a sickly woman who experienced pain when eating was obligated to eat on Erev Yom Kippur. He ruled that she was exempt. However, Rabbi Kiva questioned whether even healthy women have an obligation to eat on Erev Yom Kippur. On one hand, he knows that it's a mitzvah saseh shazman grama, from which women are generally exempt. But on the other hand, if it's connected to fasting, and women are obligated to fast because they're obligated in all the lavim, perhaps they should be included in the mitzvah to eat on Erev Yom Kippur as well. And he leaves it b'tzorah chiyun, right? Avli navoch, I'm confused. B'chol noshim habrios, if they're healthy, im chayavos lechol be'erev Yom Kippurim. The afsharim pturos. And he brings us to the Kesef Mishnah, Minchos Nador, the Mistapek, Imach Drosha, the Chola Oichel, the Shoyse B'Tshi is Drosha Gemura, Ohu Asmach the Ba'alma, Venkach Uzman Grama, Oiloi.
How is Achila Sarai considered a mitzvah shazman?
No, because we just said it's tied to the 9th of Av.
I
the 9th
understand
of
that
Av.
it's tied to the 9th of Av, but it's
9th
the
of
holiday,
Tishrei.
what you, 9th of Tishrei. You're supposed to eat anyway, but I don't understand, there would be a chiluk of how this is considered a mitzvah shazman. Wait, mitzvah on Yom Tov and a woman
Right,
eating
eats,
is
right.
a mitzvah shazman, grandma? Come on. I don't understand.
Yeah,
Why? Yes, no. How do you-
Mitzvah-
Where did you see
mitzvah
that?
of Simcha.
Where did you see that?
Simcha Suda, that's all.
No, mitzvah of Simcha is a mitzvah sasei shazman grama. So technically, they are allowed to choose to be makayim that, but they're not mechuyev in it, like lulav.
What
They've
about
been
matzah?
out all their lives to be making on
No,
Yom
in
Tov.
Hanami, they choose to, they choose this mitzvah as well. Their question, he's querying, he wants to say like this, even though it's a mitzvah sasei shazman grama, since one of the reasons that we're given is to prepare you for the fast, and they're mechuyev for the fast, he's mesubik, maybe they're mechuyev to eat on the 9th of Av. That's the tzad to say that they're mechuyev. On the tzad that it's a mitzvah sasei, there would not be mechuyev to do it.
Let me ask you, the Yom Kippur fasting is not a mitzvah shazman?
No, but lavim, women are required to do every lavim in the Torah, no matter if it's tied to time. Kivan dekro mafik lo beloshen betisha lechodesh ba'erev v'loimer davi kilus anet shiva simemela kol shemechuyev betanis asir mechuyev l'kaim v'nisim lachol b'shi v'tzorach iyun. So he leaves it as a tzorach iyun. Now the grandson of Rabbi Kiva Eger, the Ksav Sofer, because the Chasam Sofer was the son-in-law of Rabbi Kiva Eger, and the son of the Chasam Sofer was the Ksav Sofer. So gave a conclusive answer to the quandary of his grandfather, and ruled that women are definitely obligated to eat on Erev Yom Kippur. And this will conclude. Shavti v'ra'isi de mechuyeves yisha b'mitzvah zu mitrei taimi. He says there are two reasons why they should be obligated. Chada, one, kiven de nafkalon mitzvah zu min v'tisha l'chodesh ba'erev. And we said, kol oichel b'tshi kilu mis'ane b'tshi v'asiri. Kol sheyeshno b'tanis d'asiri isi b'achilas shi. So anyone who's in the parsha of the Tanis Asiri is in the dinim of Achilas B'Shi. Sha'oichel kemisani yichashem. V'un ke'ene kesha d'zocher v'shamor. So this again shows Walter that he's correct in his diyun. Why are women mechuyev in Kiddush on Shabbos? It's a mitzvah sasei shazman grama. They're not technically, but since they are mechuyev in the shamor. Shamor is the lavim, and it says zocha v'shamor, so it's a hekesh. So the Gemara itself says it. Since they're mechuyev in the shmira, they're mechuyev in the zchira, and the zchira is kiddush. So he wants to say a good, nice zushtel to that.
It's good.
The odd biyosa yesh lomar zil boser time. He says another reason because of Rashi v'zel shoma. Kol och v'shoyse, right? V'hachi mashma krov nisem b'tshi klomer haskein atzmacha b'tshi. Rashi said it's a hechsher mitzvah. It allows us, it's a preparation for the mitzvah. Shetucha lisanos basiri.
You wouldn't be able to fast.
Umen afke krabeloshen inu ilom el-chareu kilu yisane b'tshiyat kam l'shono. That's Rashi. V'ayin metak loshen atur, simen taf reish dolet shekosov, shumav as Hashem yizbach shelo yasik layam ataynis ayin sham. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the fact that you should eat on the 9th, so that fasting on the 10th is not going to damage you, because you're going to pocket a rind and you'll have backup. Kimat ef shalom is hach droshet kol oichel b'loshen inu LLP perish Rashi. So it fits Rashi as well. The time of kemosh kosav atur gamken the kivan to b'shum hachi hu b'vadei mistaber the noshim mechuyuvas gamken. They also have to prepare themselves for the fast. V'chinashi loy boy koyach. What women don't need strength. Keiner lefian is daiti. That's the ksavsay. Okay, very good.